Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Chivas Status. My name is Rigo El Chiva. You can follow me on Twitter at Rigo El Chiva, and I'm here with my friend Brian. You could follow him at what's your at?
At Brian RMW.
There you go, guys. And we're here to talk about a few different things. We're here to talk about the Clásico that already passed quite a few days ago, but we're gonna recap it, and then we're gonna talk about the Chivas dub against Mazatlan, and then we're gonna get a little bit deeper into El Tri and talk about the upcoming matches, um, the squad selection, things like that. So to top it off, I want to ask Brian what he thought about the Clásico, how he thought America performed in that game, and his overall thoughts after getting a 1-0 win against Chivas.
Yeah, I mean, in a rivalry game, final score doesn't matter as long as you get the points. America, given their situation, I was just happy that they didn't completely fall victim to the counter. There were chances. Chivas could have definitely put one away. Benedetti could have put one away early. Surprised that Gio scored, to be honest. He's hit or miss, and usually it's a miss. So very surprised he scored in that. Definitely some nervous moments. I thought Jorge did really good against Antuna. Obviously, there's the in the box, debate. Sometimes they get called, sometimes it doesn't. People went back and forth. But other than that, I think he did really well causing Antuna to, resort to either trying to cross it or make a move that pushed him out of bounds. So that was good. And then lastly, Juarez, the young kid, came in because Aguilera didn't, I guess he had a slight pull on his leg or something, and he did really well. So I was happy on that end too. So, I mean, not the most beautiful game, a little bit boring. I think the atmosphere was lacking, obviously, given the situation. So, that's the takeaway from America, in my point of view.
Yeah, man. And I mean, going into the game, I saw some vulnerable points in America's defense, but overall, I did expect America to get a 1-0 win. I came out frustrated either way because I expected my team to do a lot better. Chivas really didn't generate as much. Sure, JJ had a couple of good chances. One clear 1v1 after Brizuela found him and liberated him from the defense. He should have put that away. I don't know what's going on with him. And then Antuna, speaking of Antuna, he was left to, America did a good job to not let him cut in. And so he had to cross. And a lot of his crosses were imprecise, but there were a couple that I remember, one specifically to JJ in that first half that, in my opinion, JJ should have done better with. So overall, I was very disappointed, especially in that second half, because I thought that Chivas could go out and really, show some ambition, but we were even missing passes in the final third or like even in the midfield. It was just very sloppy passing. And there are some key players that I blame the most, and that's Molina. And he misses a lot of passes in that midfield, and he doesn't really offer that control in the midfield. Like I've seen him multiple times not be able to bring a ball down and make a simple pass. So the functioning in Chivas has a lot of work, a lot of things that need to improve. Overall, the goal came from mistakes from two, typical culprits. Tiba Sepulveda rejected the ball, and then he went out looking for the ball, a ball that he had no business going after because he was never going to reach it. I think Cordova recovered that ball, controlled the ball, and created the play, found Gio, which when Gio received the ball, he kind of faked like he was going to his right. And when Tiba pushed up to find the ball, Molina slid back, right, to cover that empty space. Molina was very worried about Gio potentially having a right-footed shot. I don't know why. I don't know why he was so worried about that right foot. And Gio obviously immediately switched it to his left. Molina was, totally done in that play. And Gio had a clear left-footed shot, which that's his bread and butter. So what are you doing, But overall, I don't know about you. What do you think about Gio? Like, I don't think he has redeemed himself yet. I think he really got lucky in that play. So what do you think about Gio?
I mean, the play looked almost exactly like his goal against Holland. It was actually really strange. But okay, previous game was a 0-0 against Cruz Azul, and he did pretty good. He had good energy, but by no means do I think he's still a long-term option for America right now. He needs to do much better. He needs to be consistent, and it's a big salary, dude. You gotta pull your name. And you're right. And back to the criticisms that we talked about prior to this game about Tiva. That's where he wasn't anticipating the play, or he's over-committing on something that's unnecessary, meaning pushing him the one way. So that's been our criticism, and for an L3 point of view, I hope he fixes it. But for a Chivas point of view, you need him to start fixing that now. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's so annoying because these are mistakes that common mistakes for him. And I knew that's why my prediction before the game. Before the Clásico, I knew America would win. I was just really disappointed because, again, I expected a little bit more from Chivas. Like I said, Chivas struggle.
The first half, I thought they would be a little bit more firepower.
Yeah, and this is a point I've made, is that Chivas struggle against low blocks. So I thought America would have to try to do some sort of low block. No. In fact, they had a lot of chances to score. And Chivas, in the beginning, in the first half, within maybe the first 20 minutes, JJ had a few chances. But other than that, we didn't really create much. So overall, I come out disappointed from the match, from the Clásico. And then we come into the game against Mazatlan. And Molina was able to score that game.
Right.
And
a very strange goal.
It was a strange goal. We conceded right away, and in my pessimistic Chivas mind, I thought, okay, that's done. Mazatlan are going to defend very well. But a miracle happened. Molina scored, and Chivas scored from a header and a corner kick. That never happens.
Which I thought was going to happen the previous game. I was saying, watch the set pieces, America. That's what they've been stinking so bad with. That's just the irony of predicting these games, especially Mexican League, So to see him score like that, I was like, I was expecting that the previous game.
Yeah. But ultimately, I've been very critical of having Molina in the starting lineup, and then he picked up an injury. So I'll be excited to see what Vucetich thinks about doing in these next upcoming matches, for example, against Xolos, where he's not going to be able to play Molina. He's not going to be able to play probably Beltran. So we'll see what he does. It'll be interesting, though. I really think that he can do a lot with that midfield. And then JJ, he missed quite a few chances in the America game, but he finally got another penalty, his third penalty of the season. He had missed 2 previously, and he slots this one away. What do you think this is going to do for his confidence?
Well, he needed it, because when you have a bad streak like that, and you're a high-quality player in the league, up and coming, and there's rumors that he's already on a deal with Sociedad, you need to convert, and a little bit of a predictable play, but it doesn't matter as long as it goes back to the net. He just needs that. But I know other parts in that game, he needed to put some shots away.
Yeah, and even against in Mazatlan, he had a few open chances that he really should be putting away. This is frustrating because he has some really good qualities, but it seems like, and I said this even when he was in León, I don't think Chivas really plays to his style. There are some stats, though, that he has missed about 8 or 9 clear chances in the season. Those are some stats I've seen around, more than any other clear chances other players have missed in Liga MX. So I feel like, even though I don't think Chivas suit his style perfectly, I think he should be doing way better. And
yeah, you need to put those away. I mean, you can live with a missed penalty, but
it's consistency.
Yeah, you got to be consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to put away the little chances that you have, and those penalties that he missed, you like it or not, they meant a lot of points. They would have meant a lot of points for Chivas. So
true.
I'm really hoping that he can find his groove. I was hoping actually he bagged a couple of goals against Mazatlan, because that's the perfect victim. You know what I mean? Get a couple of goals, boost your ego up a little bit more. I don't know if this penalty is enough for him. I hope it is. And I hope that being involved in El Tri, which we see here, the national team call-up for the game against Guatemala. It was supposed to be Costa Rica, but they pulled out. And I want to ask you more about El Tri, because you're more involved. You know more about The future of El Tri. This squad looks very similar to the one that we
Yeah.
reviewed previously, with some minor changes. For example, Mauro Lainez, I think he's out. He was in the
Orozco's out.
Orozco's out. Cota's in. And Ochoa now is in doubt of being in the squad.
I think it's for sure now.
It's for sure, right? Yeah, Talavera might. There are some clubs that are pushing for their players to stay. I know for a fact that most of these players will be available against Guatemala, right?
Yeah, and to be honest, you don't really need that many keepers against Guatemala.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter who they throw out there. It goes back to what we talked previously. I really hope it's looking like youth get their shot, because we've reiterated, what are you throwing out a 31, 32-year-old player for right now?
Yeah.
With a big summer coming next year and a big calendar next year.
Yeah.
So that's my hope. And keeper, I would have liked to see Acevedo and Malagon called up, but they're not there. So who cares at this point who's in net?
Yeah. Another point I wanted to quickly talk about was Santiago Jimenez, because I've seen a lot of people question why he's being called up, and some of the media was saying that I saw a ridiculous statement from, I think, ESPN, that they were saying that they're giving away call-ups cheaply. And I'm like, okay, dude.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, why are you mad about Santiago Jimenez being called up, but you're not mad about Layun being called up or Chaka? It's like,
I don't know.
And then you see
Santiago old goalkeepers.
Yeah, or old goalkeepers. Yeah, and you see Santiago Jimenez in the Clásico Joven, Cruz Azul versus America, and I think he did really well. There were some passes, for example, I remember a cross that he made that he didn't quite find anybody, but then again, you can question his teammates, why weren't they there? And then I remember a play where one of your defenders, I think Santiago or Sebastián Cáceres, one of the two Cáceres, he got injured after that play, but Santiago Jimenez, he looked good. So what are some qualities that you like about Santiago Jimenez? I know you've studied him a little bit more than I have, so what do you think about him?
Let me first address the whole media thing. So he's 19 years old. He has, before this America game, so let's just add it in, he would have 8 games, contributed 6 goals, so 2 assists, 4 goals. We don't really have many 19-year-olds doing that.
Yeah.
Why would that be a criticism? I don't know. I don't want to call up random players that won't be contributing the next year or 2 years. So very, very well-earned call-up. And going back to that game, going back to these other games, usually his passing's a little bit better. Flows really good in the counterattack. Uses his body well, and as we saw on that play, he's agile. He can turn really fast, can shoot with either foot, even though I believe he's left-footed, and can rip a shot. So, that shot usually is going to be really dangerous on any keeper. So I want to see him play this week against Guatemala, and I think he'll score if he does play. To be honest, not to downplay Guatemala, no offense, but I think
he should be.
This should be a walk in the park for these up and coming, really talented players. Him.
Exactly, and I think it's a great opportunity to get these players, these young players, give them a cap, give them a good game to be able to gain some confidence at the selección level. Santiago Jimenez has earned it, I believe so, especially with these changes that are coming up where a player could potentially switch to another national team. You want to kind of persuade these young players to fall in love with El Tri. You know what I mean? Why not? There's no harm in giving these young players that are proving that they have talent a chance. And so I'm very happy to see him and the likes of.
And Argentina was calling. They were knocking on the door, and he was firm in saying, "No, I'm going to play for Mexico." So big moment for Mexico.
That's awesome, and that's rare in these days. So yeah, What else are you thinking about this squad?
I mean, going back, I mean, there's just a lot of talent with the young guys. I mean, like we were saying previously, Vega, Antuna, JJ, Cordova, guys like that. Jorge, I want to see that. I'm not huge on Vasquez from Pumas, but I'm willing to give him a shot.
Yeah.
Just like I am with Tiba, just to give him a shot. Not sure what the plan is there. And Montes, I mean, he's written in for the future, so that's not a doubt. But the one other thing I wanted to mention, because we talked about it previously, was Efrain Alvarez, who's, in my opinion, he needs to get way more playing time with LA because he's quality. He is quality. But Tata said that he has a future with Mexico, so he's in the plan. So that's reassuring because previously I'm like, you guys need to make a statement or say something. And I know they're going up for the other guy on LA. His name's escaping me. I think Araujo. Who's decent. I think he's a little bit undisciplined, a little bit little reckless, but very athletic, quick. Gets in the counter really well. Can play as a wing. Unlike my criticism when people say Tecatito's a right back. Like, no, this guy he can kind of fit in both because it's not like an over strength. Whereas like Tecatito as a winger, that's a humongous strength because he's a dribbler. He's got ball control, so you don't want to waste him back. Whereas this player, he can go back. So that would be good for Mexico. I know he needs to be persuaded though. But the main thing was Alvarez because, man,
that guy's a crazy talent, man. That's where I would be focusing, is making sure he commits to El Tri completely, because I've seen him and you've shown some clips. You guys should follow Brian if you don't already, because he occasionally will throw up some clips of certain players, and he has shown the talent that Efrain has. He can pick out a 40-yard pass like nobody else. His control is amazing. His decision making is well beyond his years. He's a great talent, and I think Mexico would be very dumb to not pay more attention to him. I actually don't know why he's not being called up right now.
I mean, whatever. If he wanted to go full Liga MX for the training, I guess, but it was still worrisome to see that he wasn't talking about him. But the fact that he's like, well, now that we actually are looking at him and he's got a future, that makes me more, a little bit more confident. But and I'm also, when I watch these games, Pavon, I don't know what his problem with Efrain is, but he does not look for him in those counterattacks. Yeah, man. And like, I know you're like, well, we could really use him at Chivas. So
I
don't blame you, because like I think they, I mean, if they're not giving him full time soon with this type of talent, maybe he will be looking somewhere else. I don't know about Chivas or wherever, but he's got the talent. So this is a big win for Mexico. I know they're talking to other players too, but Araujo gotta convince him. But the big one was Efrain.
Yeah. The big one is Efrain, and I mostly talk about, when I make those kind of tweets about him going to Chivas, I'm mostly trying to pull either your leg or whoever's leg, because I know his idea, Efrain's idea, should be looking towards hopefully getting a lot more minutes with LA, because I think he's deserving of it, but making the jump to Europe quickly. I think he has the talent to be there, and he just needs to, get minutes and get that hype around him. Sometimes it takes a moment of magic, and then people pay attention to you, and then you get that move. But he's a huge prospect for Mexico. So,
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree totally.
So,
but for the game coming up,
which is tomorrow, right?
Yep. I can't see Mexico doing any worse than 3-0.
Yeah.
To be honest,
yeah,
I think it's gonna be 3-0. Late opponent. It's unfortunate, but at least they got. I would rather this than, I don't know, play some random team from Mexico or some club. So at least they found somebody. I know this is gonna be difficult, but I'm gonna go with 3-0.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't. If anybody else, I doubt anybody that's not Mexican is listening. But if you are, we're not being, we don't have a huge ego or anything like that. We do respect every nation, but the quality that these players have, and the reputation that Tata has, you can't expect anything less than a 3-0. I mean, come on, come on. If we're
And
being
going back to
realistic.
like Nations League, most of those games Mexico was really just controlling everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just going off of reality, really. I mean,
Yeah,
it should be about a 3-0 with that type of talent.
yeah.
Oh, and I just
Definitely.
hope that it's clean. There's no really nasty tackles. That's one thing I get worried about. But that's all you can hope for.
And then after that Guatemala game, we'll see a different call up. We'll see some players from this list drop out, and some players from Europe come in. Maybe some MLS based players. I don't know. I don't know
We'll
about
see.
that. We'll see.
But hey, good news. I mean, Raul and Wolves didn't play great the previous game, but he's still in form.
Yeah.
Shuki is in form now.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, we can say that. It feels like forever. And Tecatito, I mean, let's not even worry about him right now. Yeah. He's so comfortable. Stay healthy. Just keep riding that with Porto. I love it. So that's going to be an interesting call up. But you're right. Who the hell knows who's coming next? But
yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about that when that comes.
If Alvarez is called, that's an MLS call. I will definitely approve.
Yeah,
because it's going to be Holland and Algeria. So those are two very distinctly different opponents. So I'm looking forward to it.
Honestly, if we're talking MLS, I really hope that he would be the only call-up, because 100%. I don't think anybody else is deserving of it.
Unless that Araujo guy confirms he'll go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I agree totally.
Like, people talk about the 2022 World Cup and they throw Alan Pulido in there, and I'm like, all right, guys, like, I like Pulido. Because he was at Chivas. I watched him play every week. But honestly, we have way better players in those positions, way better prospects. We see some of those names right here: Vega, Macias, Raul, and I would throw Henry Martin ahead of Pulido, even though you probably don't think maybe he might not be able to make it to the World Cup. But yeah, I don't think Pulido's the one. I don't think Chicharito. I think he's done. So yeah.
It's not really going well with Galaxy.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too is, like, again, we keep seeing these players like Pizarro and Pulido talk about, like, I don't know, as soon as they get to MLS, they keep trying to compare like Mexico's league to it, and they keep saying stuff like, coming here, I expect to get call-ups, or they're pushing to get call-ups. I'm like, you went to the wrong place if you're looking for call-ups.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, we're talking about Chicharito, right? And I don't think he has any business in the World Cup. But we've seen in previous World Cups that we end up taking one or two washed players every World Cup. So I would not be surprised that, in 2 years' time, and the World Cup cycle comes, and Chicharito's still being contemplated for some reason.
Well, if he was at Sevilla and stayed through, that's a different story.
Yeah.
And then the age thing can get reevaluated. Yeah. We're talking about like MLS, Liga MX, where you need to be like an up-and-coming name where your ceiling is really high, or it's a spot, like a position, let's say we didn't have the left back situation. You got a 29-year-old left back in Liga MX who's, a sound player. That's different, but for most of them, it's like, you need to factor in some things, and unfortunately, age is one of them.
For example, another good example is goalkeeper. We don't have any goalkeepers in Europe. Our best goalkeepers are Ochoa, Talavera, those two, I would say, Cota. And then other than that, there's nobody else. Like, you can be in MLS potentially and still get a call up. You know what I mean? But if you're in any of these other positions, striker, midfielder, center back, I don't think you can afford to go to MLS if you want to stay with El Tri, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's going a little bit into the future. We'll talk about the call-ups as they come. We'll talk about the games as they happen. Be sure to subscribe to Brian and to myself. This video was brought to you by Foot Cult. FUTCVLT. Rep your colors. They have great products coming out. Follow their page and you'll see everything that they have going for them. Brian, I don't know if you want to close off and just mention a little bit about what's happening with Foot Cult right now.
Yeah, just kind of the same ideas at Foot Cult. Like we said, on Twitter and Instagram, we got the God of Thunder kit. So for pre-order, we got the new Halloween training top, which is going to be sick. I love Halloween. That's my favorite time of the year. So I'm pretty excited for that. And then there's some other stuff we want to give back to some charities, and it's more than just clothing. We want to be a unique thing in the Liga MX community, and we want to give back. And you'll be seeing a little bit of that too. But we got brand new wristbands out, which are the Mexican ones. So check, when you get an order, look out for those because there's a lot of those out now. And there's going to be a lot of stuff coming, a lot of clothing, a lot of different looks, and unique different things. So I'm just really excited. So outside of watching the sport, we're living our own thing through Foot Cult too.
Exactly, man. If you're tired of the standard traditional boring stuff, you will never get bored of what is coming out of Foot Cult.
It's
coming out with
two guys with shooting ideas, and we got a community helping us, with our FIFA Pro Clubs guys. They love this stuff too, just like you.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it huge.
Yeah. So rep your colors. It's spooky season. Get a little spooky with Foot Cult. So yeah, thanks you guys. Thank you all for watching up until now. Subscribe, like, comment, let us know what you think. Follow us on Twitter at Chivas Status, at Rigol Chiva, at Brian RMW, I believe, right?
RMW, yes.
All right. Peace out, you guys. Thank you.
Take care.